Previously on The Factory.
I was really like distraught when I saw the video of the man who was asking people that if they want to vote for a certain candidate, they should thumbprint each
Eight
and every.
times.
And why would you do that?
That was so ridiculous, honestly.
Hey, imagine if the person likes the
Look.
last person on the ballot sheet.
The person is going to vote like 13 times because we have 13 candidates.
Yes.
And we can't even blame artificial intelligence because they don't operate by themselves.
Humans are behind artificial
Certainly.
intelligence, and it's not even funny. So let's cross over to Abuja, Nigeria, and speak to Programs Manager for Africa at Witness, Nkem Agunwa. Thank you for joining us, Nkem.
Thank you for having me. It's amazing to be here.
Right. And what are the forms of the manipulation in the media? And most importantly, how do we even detect these?
When we look at the forms of manipulation, I think I would want to state at this point that manipulation of information in general, whether it's text or video or photos, or really just the use of narratives to skew reality and to, dominate conversation, it's not new. Even though it's become such a hot topic at this time, it's really as old as humanity in itself. But what we have seen is the what feels new are the forms of media manipulation that we're seeing at this time at such an unprecedented scale. That is new, and that has really muddied up the information ecosystem. It's left a lot of us vulnerable. It has overwhelmed newsrooms and journalists who on our continent are significantly under-resourced. So it places such a huge burden on journalists to fortify the truth, essentially. And this is no thanks to artificial intelligence and what that has introduced. This is the mega cycle of elections 2024. Half of the world's population is heading to the polls, including Ghana. And it's really the election that AI and deepfakes has really significantly influenced the political and politicking that has happened during this time. I'll be so interested to see the report that comes out post this election cycle. But deepfakes is a form of media manipulation that is increasingly becoming widespread, including in Africa, where it's used, sanctioned by political parties as a form of campaigning, but it's also used in a way that targets political candidates and tries to discredit them, to undermine them, and to really just cause them to lose the political debate, right, as is happening. Unfortunately, we've seen it also targeted against women. And this is particularly troubling because we know that women's political representation on the continent is significantly low. And to see this technology being used to, undermine the candidacy of women who are trying to vie for political offices is grossly disheartening. We'll also see shallow fix. The shallow fix still remains the most widespread form of media manipulation. And when we say shallow fix, what do we really mean? It's really the crude manipulation of media, audiovisual materials. And this could be as easy as just cropping out something from a picture, or a slight edit to a video, or the recycling of old videos and pictures and presenting them as new, or even when you're using current media content, but you're like misdating it, or saying that something happened in Abuja when it actually happened in Kenya, right? And this is really just to mislead people. So these are the ways that we see shallow fix being used, and it's actually quite easy to do. So it's no surprises. There are really no surprises why it's still the most prevalent form of media manipulation during elections. And and on the continent. And so really it is on us, unfortunately, to verify every piece of media content that we receive before sharing, right? So the first is to be alert, to have a critical mind. And then if you have to share, please verify the content. And how do you do this? So we have this like a really very simple, basic method that at Witness we push, and that is the SIFT method. So it's really stop. So SIFT is SIFT. So stop, right? Whenever you see a piece of content, just don't be in a rush to share it, or in a rush to consume it, even if you don't plan to share it, because we have our preconceptions, we have our pre-existing ideas, we have our biases. It's influenced by our backgrounds, our association. And so if a piece of content comes to us, we tend to use a shortcut and interpret it through our preconceptions. So it's important that we stop and then look at that piece of content critically, particularly during elections, because it is, like I mentioned earlier, a really important time. And then the next is to investigate. So that is to dig deeper. What is this content saying, right? Is it plausible what they are saying? Who is the source? Can I authenticate that this is a real person and it's not a bot? And if it's a real person, what is their track record? Is this an account that just spews out propaganda, or an account that can't be trusted because they never really post anything accurate? Like just really investigate. And then the next thing you want to do is to find other sources, right? What are others saying about what this piece of information is claiming? So that's what you others will call cross-referencing or seeking corroborative evidence or corroboration, right? And so what are others saying? So if I found this on this platform, can I check other reliable media sources? Is there a reliable media source in Ghana or internationally that is corroborating what this media outlet is saying? And then the next thing you want to do is to trace the truth. So that simply means that how do you find the earliest version of that information? Because a lot of things are taken out of context, especially during elections or during periods of heightened tension. So you might see something on TikTok, and because that platform perhaps favors short form content, so you're only seeing like 10 minutes of that video that's claiming to say something. So that video might actually be real, right? So it's not manipulated, it's not doctored, but you're only seeing a part of it, which doesn't tell the full story. So you want to check other sources. You want to check the primary source, like trace down to the person who might have first uploaded this file to see what the full context might be. And I know it sounds like a lot of work, but unfortunately, that's the time that we live in now, where seeing is not believing, unfortunately. And I'm not pushing for us to become cynical, for us to just doubt everything that we see, because that hurts us, right? That hurts us as a society. It completely tears down the fabric of society. If we can't trust anything, then who are we, right? But at the same time, and that also is especially dangerous because there are media organizations that are pushing out factual information and in some cases factual evidence of human rights violations by political actors during elections, and we need to believe them so we can take action, right? So I am not saying that we should be cynical. That's not helpful, but we have to be critical. We have to stay critical, and that is holding ourselves accountable as we hold others accountable. So that just have a critical mind, stay informed, and just apply the SIFT method. Just stop, right? Investigate, find other sources, and trace the truth.
Right, thank you very much, Nkem from Abuja, for educating us on what to do to rid ourselves of misinformation and disinformation. Nkem had a lot to say.
Yeah, it's interesting how she made everything very, very easy. At least with these tips, we're able to guard ourselves from disinformation and misinformation. We all know there is no shortcut to this. It's always a process.
Exactly.
And yeah, with time we will get there. With patience, we'll get there. As she says, we should sift. So if for nothing at all, sift. Yes.
So unfortunately, that is how we end today's episode of The Factory. But as generous as we are, we don't leave without a tip. So today's tip really is very simple and basic. When in doubt, check twice.
When in doubt, check twice.
Check twice.
Yeah. Well, you can connect with us on our social media handles. My name is Ecol. Find me at EcolXI.
And I am Tutua Danso. And on social media, it is at Tutua Danso. Thank you very much
See you
for
later.
your company.
This vlog is brought to you by kind courtesy of Witness and powered by the EIB network.